This afternoon, I am joined by a good friend of mine, Victor. We're going to be talking about anime, cosplay, and how quarantine has impacted us as individuals, and also how it's impacted our cosplay community, kind of by not being able to go to conventions, seeing friends, and just being limited to staying at home and social distancing as a whole. So, thank you so much, Victor, for being here with me. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Well, I guess we kind of caught up a little bit on how things have been going. So as far as you said you're in college and everything. How's that been going with COVID? Um,
It's going all right. It's definitely different. I do have in-person classes, but some of them are half in-person, half online, stuff like that, because they have to keep certain like social distancing rules applied to classrooms and stuff like that. And it's definitely a hard transition because like when was the last time America faced a pandemic this big?
right.
So it's a really new approach, and it's just really new in general to a lot of people. And I understand the frustration of not wanting this to happen. Like, it totally makes sense, but you have to remember that this pandemic is just not going to go away by itself. Like, you have to, like, people have to take charge of it and do what they can to prevent it in order to reduce it. So we have to have these implications like put upon the school and the colleges and stuff like that, so we can reduce it as much as possible.
Yeah. Where are you at? You're in Georgia, right?
Yeah,
Or
I'm at Valdosta State University. It's
okay.
only like half an hour from the border,
Mm,
about 2 hours from my house. So yeah.
cool. So yeah, because I have one in-person class, and then I have that my other two are online.
Oh,
So
that's odd.
we meet via Zoom, kind of like what we're doing now, and then
Mhm.
just we do class, and then that's pretty much it. It's funny because I like the online aspect of it, because it was funny last week. I literally got done with a class, closed my laptop, shut my light off, rolled over, and took a nap.
Oh my gosh, I will say
I'm
I
on
I
campus. I can't do that. I can't just like roll over and then go to sleep. I have to get in my car. I have to drive home, and all that. So, yeah, the
yeah,
online aspect
definitely.
has its perks.
Yeah, I will say I learn best in person. Like, I learn best when I'm doing like hands-on work and when I'm surrounded by people and like in that classroom setting. But I will say that online does have its perks. Like, you can't risk spreading COVID or like illnesses through online because we're all at our own houses or
Yeah,
wherever we live. And also because online allows you to like stay at home or just be in a different place besides a classroom, so you don't have to worry about gas and traveling and being on time. You just pull out your electronic device and you say, okay, cool, just time to log on, easy as that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, there are some ups and downs to it, definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, the one thing is I'm also really saving a lot of money on parking.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
last year I spent $160 for a parking pass. Used it from August of last year to like end of February, beginning of March, and went from March all the way through August. Never once had to park on campus.
Wow.
And I'm like, can I have money back, please? Like, I broke. I need money. But yeah, they were like, no, we're looking into it. But they have not, like, they gave partial refunds for housing. They gave partial refund for like food or whatever. But they have not
Yeah,
given any
they did that
refund
too.
for.
Yeah, that happened at my school too. Also, I got really lucky because like um my old roommate, he was living in a rental house, a leased house with a couple of his friends who I also have been friends with too.
Yeah,
And what happened was he was moving out because he's going to a new college. And so there was now an open room available, and I was going to move on campus, but I didn't want to move on campus. And because of like the COVID and the whole situation, they said, okay, usually we would have to say no to this type of thing. But because of the situation we're in, how like the school's running, we can let you get out of this contract and give you a refund for that. So I
yeah.
was able to get my refund. I was able to get out of the housing, and now I'm living in a rental house. And I'm doing so much better too. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm still living at home because I'm only like 15 minutes away from campus. So
that's
like
about.
I like it a lot. I get to come home, every day, and I'm in my own room. I don't have to worry about a roommate or whatever. I mean, unless you want to count my brother, but he's pretty decent for the most part.
Yeah, I at least I like my roommates. It's not just random people I was assigned to. It's
Yeah.
like actually like my friends that I met in like freshman year and like actually became friends
Okay.
with over time. And I'm like, yeah, like it's people that I know already. So
Yeah,
it's really nice.
I like that. I like that a lot. So I know you've been, because I'm in college too and everything, being in class and stuff, but have you gotten into any more animes, any more like recent shows, anything that's kind of piqued your
A
interest?
couple here and there. Summer was when I was more into it. I guess now that I'm really busy with school now and stuff like that. But summer has definitely been that time to where I was like, okay, well, I know I had a job during summer, but I also had like 1 or 2 classes, online classes, but I had a lot more free time, so I was able to watch the shows that I wanted to.
Yeah.
I hadn't watched a lot, and there's still some that are a work in progress, but I was able to get into a lot that I like, really enjoyed. And a lot of my other roommates, they all watch anime too, so they are able to give me like some good recommendations and stuff like that. Like just recently, I started Hunter x Hunter, and I
Yeah,
like it so far.
I want to start that one. I kind
It's
of
long, but I
want
like
to
it
watch
so
the
far.
dub because the dub is just. I hear the dub is really bad, but I think it'd be funny to just kind of like watch an episode or two.
No, that's valid. That's totally
There's
valid.
this audio going around on TikTok where it's like, uh, the one guy, oh, what is it? Kurapika is drowning in like an infinite sorrow or something.
I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen that video. I think I have, if I remember
People
correctly.
are
My
getting
roommate might have shown
cosplay
it.
and they're just standing in the shower and they're just like, he's just drowning, and I'm like, but what's happening to him?
Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. And then where they're like, Leorio, and he's like, it's Mr. Leorio. I'm like, okay, all right, I like this. But yeah, no, that's like the Haikyuu dub. It's
Yeah, the Haikyuu dub is not that good. It's really
it's
not. It's funny,
awful,
but
but
it's not good.
it's so funny at the same time. Where they're like, he was like, oh, he's probably gonna go take a shit. Say poop.
I can't get over Tanaka's voice actor because he's so funny. I think
Right.
Tanaka and Noya, how Noya, like, Noya's already like, he's this like second year in high school.
Yeah.
He's like a wild child, but his dub voice, like, it's not good, but at the same time it works. Did you ever watch Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way? Or
Like
no?
an episode, like one or
Or
two
like the dub or
episodes.
anything? Like
Yeah,
the original Yu-Gi-Oh? So
one.
in the original Yu-Gi-Oh, they're Japanese high school students, but in the dub, the English version, Joey Wheeler, my favorite character,
Yes.
literally has a New Jersey accent, and it's so funny because you're like, this is a Japanese high schooler, and they
Yeah.
give him a New Jersey accent, but it works for him. Like, it's
Yeah.
funny. Like, it's like, wow, it fits his character type despite him being literally like a 16-year-old Japanese boy.
Yeah, I
But
love it.
it's funny because it fits his character type and his personality, and it just kind of
Okay, yeah.
fits that like
So I can get
energy.
by with that.
So
Well,
yeah,
like
it kind of reminded me of that.
so they came out with a dub of Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh
They
gosh.
came out with a dub of Demon Slayer, and the dub
Oh,
of
I haven't watched
Demon
that yet,
Slayer
but I
was
watched Demon Slayer.
really
The
bad.
sub.
But
Oh
the
god.
sub is good. Like, I feel like there's certain animes that have to be done in sub only for it to kind of work. And just
Yeah.
it's the like, nothing against English voice actors because I've met a handful of them that are absolutely amazing, but there's just certain vocal range that Japanese actors have versus English voice actors. Like,
Yeah, and it's also a
stuff
translation
is
issue too.
probably the only exception that can really have a large vocal range compared to like other English voice actors.
Wait, what show did you say?
No, the voice actor J. Michael Tatum. He's done
Oh,
like
I thought you said it was a
Ashton
show.
from Black Butler. He's
Oh yeah, I
done
know him.
Minya Ida. He does Erwin in Attack on Titan, which the Attack on Titan dub is pretty good for the most part. I when I think of a dub for Attack on Titan, I can't help but think of the Attack on Titan abridge. I don't know
Oh
if you've
yeah.
ever seen that, the abridged version of it.
I've seen like a episode here and there. I've also seen some of the free abridged and the SAO
Oh,
abridged. They're funny.
50% off is amazing.
50% off was iconic. I was like, what am I watching?
It's great. It's what's funny is that's what got me into free.
Oh my gosh, I still haven't watched free.
I had a friend who showed me 50% off, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna watch the actual anime. But in my head, all I'm thinking of is Thug Nagisa.
Not Thug Nagisa. Thug Nagisa is
You
so
broke out
funny.
this. Who told you? Like.
That show, that parody was just so iconic. Like the last time I watched something that good was probably the SAO one. The SAO one was really good too, but 50% off was just like its own thing.
One of you shot the Haru that could read.
Oh my god.
Great. It was
So
so great. But I finally caught up with My Hero Academia dub. Um,
oh, love that.
And I'm dying over Bird Boy Hawks over here. Like he's
Hawks.
literally taken over my life.
You and my friend Jessica both, because they're obsessed with Hawks. No, she is obsessed with Hawks, and she listens to like ASMR videos about it.
Me. Oh my
It's
god, you know.
Yagami. I adopted this really negative behavior of, oh, well, this fan base or this group of people have a negative reputation. I'm going to bandwagon on hating it. And like, it didn't cause too much damage to me myself,
Right.
but to other people and how I perceive them, it kind of really limited things for me. Like I would see Voltron cosplayers or like Voltron cosplayers, fursuiters, My Hero cosplayers at
Yeah.
cons. And my immediate thought was like, avoid them or don't talk to them. And in reality, I was just like, I don't know their story. I don't know them as people. I don't know these people. I just know that they happen to like that type of thing. I
Yeah.
could have just met my new best friend or something. Like, you know?
Exactly.
And I think that getting out of that mindset was really good, because now I'm friends with like new people like Jessica, my friends Elliot, Will, Ray, like people who don't have that mindset or don't encourage it. And I think it's really helped, because it's really perceived, like it's helped with my perception of like cosplay and animes and like stuff that I like now.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like it kind of helped me develop the thought of like, I need to like what makes me happy at the end of the day. Like I need to be liking stuff that doesn't make me feel like I'm have this like superiority complex because I like this show and you happen to like that show that I don't like.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I
I
think
mean,
that
that's awesome. That's, you
yeah.
know, like I kind of was like, I don't think I ever like really bandwagon off of like negativity or stuff like that, but I know a lot of people, they're like certain cosplayers that they're like, you know, like if a couple people don't really like them, you know, they'll bandwagon and they'll be like, oh well, I
Mhm.
don't like them either, and then people will ask, well, why don't you like them? You know, it's kind of like the ongoing joke where like everybody hates Nickelback.
Yeah, literally. I was
I
just
was
like,
like,
I mean, I
reason why? So, I mean, that's kind of like how I feel with certain things. And then people were also like attacking, you know, like, because I mean, I spend most of my free time on TikTok. Like, I'll be dead honest.
yeah,
So,
that's
like, if
valid.
they were talking about the whole, like, oh, possible ban or whatever, I was legit freaking out because I'm like, well, that's how I spend a lot of my free time. That's where I get a lot of inspiration for stuff. That's where I've made a lot of friends, you know, online and everything. And people were talking about, oh, you know, like on TikTok, they were like, oh, well, people, you know, everybody loves Hawks because, you know, everybody else loves them. And it's like, no, there are people that really like him, you know, for legitimate reasons, you
Yeah,
know,
like
maybe,
he's a good character.
yeah, they're, you know, they find comfort in him for whatever reason, or, you know, they got into him because other people got them into it. You know, it's not a bandwagon, it's not a trend. It's just, you know, you can choose to like whatever character you want. You know, there are people that like kind of the lesser known 1A characters. You know, there are a lot of people
Yeah,
that
me, like
like Aoyama. There are a lot
I'm
of
one of
people
those
who like
people.
Zero. And, you know, people are like, oh, well, you just bandwagon off of it because like one or two other people like it. It's like, no, I legit really like this character.
Yeah, and I think it applies both way when it comes to bandwagoning and stuff like that. And I think that's really like with cosplay, especially that whole community, because it's funny how in the cosplay community, people are so judgmental. Like at the end of the day, you have to remember, I know that, you know, there's a lot of drama and a lot of bad stuff happens in this community, but I guarantee you it's not everyone. In fact, it's not most people.
Right.
And I also guarantee that like if you're going to talk poorly about someone's fan base, but look at the cosplay community. It already has like an infamous reputation itself. Like you're going to go around judge one thing, but then not judge what you're already part of and stuff. And I think that's like such a negative mindset to have of the whole bandwagoning trend. Like, why did I say that? Trend. I didn't mean trend. But I think it's just like it really helped like it not only helped me like with my own perception of stuff and me saying, okay, well, I need to have a more optimistic mindset, be like more open-minded for sure. I think that having such a closed-minded mindset and like your thought process about other people and like or their reputation or what they represent is it's immature. It doesn't say I want to get to know you, I want to see if my opinions are right or valid. It simply says I've only formed a couple opinions about you based on stuff that might have not probably didn't even apply to you directly,
Yeah.
and I already don't like you or I already do like you because of that. And I think that's not a mature thing to do. It's not saying, it's not investing time or energy. You're not putting in any effort doing that type of thing. You're just simply being you're just simply attaching yourself to this negatively or positively just because of a couple of opinions. And I think that's unfair to a lot of people. I think that's unfair to, like anyone, to be honest. It depends on their fan base. I think that was so unfair to My Hero fans, because I know that not every My Hero fan is like some cringy 13-year-old or like some like 20-year-old creep or something. I know that's not every fan. And I think that's unfair to say that, like, oh, because you like this series, you must be categorized as one of those people. When in fact, like, we all know the cosplay community and like the anime community stuff is like very diverse. There's many people of different races, LGBTQ plus, different backgrounds, countries, communities, like stuff like that. Like, it's very diverse, and they're all coming together because they have similar interests. And I think it's so just incredibly rude and disrespectful to make so much assumptions about a community that's so diverse in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at it even just as a wider aspect, you look at the population of just everybody in the United States. Yeah, we
Oh,
have a
100%.
couple of bad apples, couple of bad seeds, that might have just kind of decided to do their own negative thing in a way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one race or one gender, or whatever is negative, is in the wrong or in the negative of it. I mean, when 9/11 happened and the years to follow, they thought every Middle Eastern, anybody that, was from overseas,
Yeah,
was,
Muslim or something like that. It was just like,
yeah,
it was such a broad spectrum.
you can't just lump everybody together because there were just a couple of bad people that made a terrible decision. And it's like that with anybody and any kind of group, no matter what it is. Because like you said, yeah, we'll have, a couple cringy people, and fandoms here and there. And you're going to get that no matter what. You're
Yeah,
going
because no
to
one's perfect, and it's not, and not everyone's the same. So everyone's gonna have different mindsets and stuff. Of course, there's gonna be still negativity where you go, but you can't make the assumption that it's everyone. And I think that the reason I think it's easy for me to say it about the cosplay community and stuff is because when you're part of that scene, like when you are directly part of it, when you are someone who's also contributing to it or simply just enjoys it and puts their voice out there, I think that's something that I've worked for. Like, obviously I've had my fair share of like loving cosplay and hating it, and like loving the community and just wanting to quit it. And I think that it's something that at the end of the day, I'm like, well, if I'm not hurting anyone, if I'm not contributing to negativity, there should be no reason, or if I'm not bandwagoning, there should be no reason for me not to do this, or like to me to feel bad about doing this to begin
right.
with. So.
Yeah, because I feel like at the end of the day, if you're on the verge of not wanting to be a part of it, there's always something that's going to pull you back in, in a positive way. If it could be a matter of friends, it could be a matter of, well, I really wanted to do this cosplay, or, oh, I really wanted to go to this con, I wanted to meet this voice actor. There's a lot of things that, because I've been on the verge where I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to go to cons anymore.
Yeah, same.
I want to cosplay. Just because of all the time, money, and because I'm such a freaking perfectionist, and I have a terrible habit
Literally
of
same.
comparing myself to other people. I mean, it got so bad, like last night when the iOS like 14 update came out for iPhones and stuff, and I was on TikTok, and I was looking at everybody's home screens, and I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to make it look pretty because my phone is stupid and for some reason won't let me do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
I'm
like
like,
same with, yeah, that happens. Like
I can't
it
compare
happens more
myself to
than you
other
think.
people. Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why I kind of like quit cosplay for a while, because like I don't think I'm ever gonna like truly quit until I'm like too old to do it, or where I'm just like, where I'm like, okay, I just can't throw money at this anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, like when back in 2018 when we were at Metro, I was in this place of like, I was so desperate. Like, I was very much a desperate person. I was desperate to become famous or something, like somehow just get my name out there. Even if I didn't get 10,000 followers by the end of the year, I didn't care. I just wanted to get my name out there. I was desperate to make new friends. And I made a lot of bad decisions to do those type of things, and it got me nowhere. I think that there's been friendships I regret, for sure. There's been choices I made. 2018 Metro, 100% MetroCon was, I feel like I made a lot of bad decisions. I hurt a lot of people's feelings, and I made things bad. And, during that time, like after, I would just sit and feel guilty and just sit there and just be like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. I should just quit this type of thing. And then 2019, I was like, I'll give it another shot. And it kind of just went slow, wasn't fast. And then I had to sit down, like think to myself, I was like, you can't just rush these type of things. Like, to be able, like, redemption isn't the, yeah, I think it is the right word to an extent, but it's more like just working to be a better person.
Yeah.
And I think that you can't rush that type of thing. The only thing you can do is suck up you made bad decisions, suck up that bad things happen, and just work to do better, like, at the end of the day. And if, like, you know, you have to be open-minded, and I was not open-minded in 2018 because I was hurting people's feelings. I wasn't taking things into consideration. I was rushing things too. I was like, Victor, you don't even have more than 500 followers. How are you expecting to get 1,000 by the end of the year by 3 photos or something? Or why are you joining this group you know that won't make you happy, but it'll make your friends happy, even though you're the one paying for your costume and your con ticket, like, you're the one paying for all of it. So I think that, for the example, the Teen Titans squad, you know, because we both love Teen Titans.
Right.
There was this time where I was like, OMG, I love Teen Titans. I've watched them forever, but I still love it. And Sky was wanting to do that squad, and I did it with them. And the entire time, I just felt horrible. Like, I really felt negative. I was like, I am not happy with the way my body looks in this. I'm not happy with the quality of the makeup, the wig, the costume, just the quality of the way I looked. I feel like everyone there is actually going to get something good from it, whereas the only thing I'm going to do is be one of the reasons they get something good from it. It's going to be nothing for myself. Like, I feel like, oh, I'm only there to complete the group. I'm not there to get my own content out, to, like, put myself up there. I'm just there to help other people. And I think that was kind of that mindset where I was just in a really bad place, and I had to think to myself, if I'm not happy doing it, I don't need to be doing it anymore. I don't need to be doing it. And originally that led to me quitting cosplay for a while and saying, I'm just not going to invest it anymore. I'm too mature for that. But at the end of the day, I was like, well, I kind of do like, yeah, con country and stressful, but I do like that energy of like, wow, you're working hard to do something that will make you happy, or it feels good to be able to, like, make new friends out of this. And I think that my new mindset, I had to, like, mature up and basically saying to myself, maybe it's not that mindset in particular. It needs to be, okay, don't make the same mistakes as before. You can still like cosplay, you can still like anime, you can still like these type of things, but just know, like, you have to do this for your own sake at this point. And that's something that's not selfish to say. It sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, I was like, it's my money, it's my time and effort that I'm putting into. And if my friends don't agree with it, then either I don't care, or maybe if those friends are just saying too many negative things, I need some new friends. Because it definitely was one of those things where I was like, I was just like how I was quick to want to be famous or quick to be wanting to get content. I was also really quick to give up and stuff. And I think that was just not a mature mindset to have, considering I knew that not all of this, like I said, going back to bandwagoning, for a while I bandwagoned on not liking the cosplay community because I was just like, oh, well, I've had bad experiences. And I was like, well, not everyone's contributing to it. In fact, most of my bad experiences have been my fault. And, you know, stuff like that. And I think it's just not a fair mindset to have, for sure.
I think definitely a lot has changed. I mean, for me also personally, just in the last like year or so, you know, just not going to cons, not, you know, it's given me more of appreciation for the aspect of it.
Definitely.
Like, you know, definitely when cons start to come back again, I'm going to be like, well, I'm not going to take I'm not going to take advantage of this. I'm going to enjoy every single waking moment of it. Kind of the thing that I really enjoy is I have not posted on my cosplay account probably since January of this year.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, I
I,
haven't seen
you know,
much
I'm
of your
not,
booth, but that's okay.
and it's funny because like I have all these things lined up for what I want to do as far as content's concerned, but I don't want to put it on Instagram. I want to focus more on my TikTok account because
No, that's totally valid.
I'm slowly starting to like spend more time on there. Like I said, that's where I do a lot of my free time, and I have like all of these videos saved of like duets that I want to do with other people, you know. And it's like I don't really care about follower count. I just care more about, can I make somebody else smile? Can I make somebody else's day better by a simple comment, a simple video? You know, like I don't care so much as the followers.
Yeah, like following counts at the end of the day. I think the mindset of being desperate for following counts is a pretty toxic mindset, because
Absolutely.
it says you care more about, it says that the only thing that makes you happy is that number rather than what you're putting out and sharing with the world.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
when
I'd rather
Yeah.
spend more time on a simple video or something, and maybe get one or two likes, and then, somebody say, "Oh, well, you really made my day." And then I can actually respond to them and be like, "Oh, well, thank you. That meant a lot to me." Because like if
Oh,
I get
100%.
followers, it just means more comments, people I'm probably not going to be able to respond to. Because I see it on a daily basis where people are like, "Oh, do they actually respond? Do they actually respond?" And it's like, well, part of it is they have, you know, 30,000 followers. They probably get
Yeah.
like 10,000 to 15,000 comments. They can't respond to every single one of them, and that's not their fault. They're making content that people like, and it's spreading like wildfire. So people then are coming from all over the place, and because I see videos that are on Facebook, and then I see them again on my For You page. So it's leaving TikTok, it's going to other social media outlets, and then more people are coming in and getting a follower account. And it's like, I'm not really concerned with that. I'm just concerned
Yeah.
about making stuff that, people might enjoy. And maybe if they want to follow me, that's fine. I don't, at the end of the day, I don't care.
Oh, 100%. And I think that really like helped with changing my mindset about like what I want to invest time into, because at this point now I'm like, like I said earlier, I want to do stuff that makes me happy, but there's consequences for everything. Maybe you do something that makes you happy and it doesn't get a lot of clout, but at the end of the day, like if you're happy with it and you're not hurting anyone, there's no reason not to be truly happy with it, because like I'm into a lot of stuff that most of my friends are into. Like I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Most of my friends don't like Resident Evil. I also love horror video games in general. I love old school arcade games from the 90s, stuff that you would not see people cosplay or like invest much time into because it's not what's popular, or maybe it's just not like, yeah, it's just not what people are really into at the time or something. So I think it's really funny that people can be so quick to judge others on their choices of what they want to do, but maybe you don't realize that, like, for example, like maybe you see someone cosplay something, they're like, what even is that series? Like no one likes that. But at the end of the day, like maybe that person literally thinks that's their best cosplay. They really think, I put the most time into this thing. Like I love how good, like I feel confident in what I do, and like feel confident in like what I just posted and shared with the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that the cosplay community and the anime community, like that, like together, they make people feel bad for not doing what's popular and not doing something that doesn't appeal to others. There's such a pressure to do stuff. Like people are like, oh, I'm going to cosplay my hero. And the first initiate thing is like, are you going to cosplay one of the main characters?
Right.
And it's kind of like, at the end of the day, you don't have to do that. Like you can still let cosplay whoever you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone or doing anything bad. Do what makes you happy by all means. And I think now that I've kind of grown into that mindset, I'm in this place to where like at the end of the day, I'm doing this for myself. And I think that also quarantine has helped with that. Quarantine is giving me time to reflect upon it. Quarantine is giving me a break from cons to like reflect, how do I want to approach it when they open up again? How do I want to approach the people I hang out with, the groups that I do, if I do any, what I want to throw my money towards to begin with. Like, do I even want to go to this con, or do I want to not do that? Maybe save up for a new cosplay or something new, like some merchandise or whatever for the next one. Like, do I really want to do that? And I think that it's really interesting to see how, like, even if it doesn't take much time, like just stepping away from something you love really, really helps you reflect upon it. And I think that's something that's super beneficial to me, because right now I do want to get back into cosplay. I do miss cons. I do miss cosplay. I want to see my friends again at conventions, like stay up till 2 a.m. eating ramen and drinking ramen. Like I miss like buying posters and merchandise I didn't need. I just really wanted, like I miss that. But I also think to myself, okay, well, I definitely don't want to be throwing my money at something that doesn't make me happy. And I also want to, now that I'm in quarantine and that I won't be doing that, I have the opportunity, like, yeah, quarantine sucks because, there's a pandemic going around and our country isn't taking it serious enough. So we have to do something about it. So quarantine has given me the time to say, okay, well, I know I still have school I have to do and a job, but I now have time to work out because I have very bad bodily dysmorphia. Like I have, a mental disorder caused by my body, because that's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
So I now have the time to like take better care of my skin, work out, gain weight, get into a better place with myself. to where when I start cosplaying again, do that, I'll be like, wow, I feel so much better about myself. Like I wasn't concerned so much with, oh, I will go to the next con that's open immediately. I said, I will go to the next con I can, feeling good about myself, feeling good. Like, wow, like I really gained that 30 pounds by the end of the year I was going for, or I was able to save a lot of money and buy something really important to me and still have enough money to go do something fun, like go to a con for a weekend or something.
God, I
So
love that. I love that so much.
literally.
I love that mindset. I love just all of that. I mean, here we are, 2020, yes, COVID has completely just ruined everything, but I
Oh,
feel like
definitely.
for people that have really struggled mentally and physically with stuff that they said that they were going to do, year after year after year, it was kind of like 2020 said, all of those resolutions you kept putting off, you're going to do it this year because I'm going to unleash a pandemic and you don't have a choice.
Literally. And I was like, I don't have to go to a gym to work out too. Like I can stay home and use dumbbells and like workout videos. I don't have to worry about the next con in 2 months and con crunching because, they're not happening. So I can just stay home and be like, okay, instead of worrying, oh, the con is in 2 weeks, I have to get everything ready for the convention. I can say, oh, I can make that 10-pound goal in the next 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. Like I can do that type of thing. So I think that, yeah, I think everything has a pro and con to it. Of course, I think the pandemic has been more of a con, obviously, because this is like the health of the country and the health of
Right.
people.
Yeah, no,
But
definitely.
there's still a lot of things that I was now able to do and things that I can now feel confident and better about doing. Like especially with working out, because for me, like that's something that means a lot to me because I'm like, I'm trying to gain weight. I'm trying to feel good about myself. So a mental illness caused by my body is alleviated. I don't think it'll 100% cure it, obviously, because mental illness doesn't work like that. But I think that it will help, like, like I said, alleviate it, like lessen it, make it better. A place where I feel confident in myself to where I can start doing more things that make me more confident.
Mhm.
And I think that now that I'm at COVID and, gyms aren't the smartest decision during a global pandemic, I
Agreed.
can now work out at home because gyms always made me nervous. Gyms are like, I feel intimidated walking into a gym because I feel like most people around me are typically healthy people. They don't have to do this, but they do it anyways because they take good care of themselves. Or maybe because they have this determination that I feel like I'll never have or something. So I was always nervous going to gyms because I feel like people were judging me, even though I know I'm the biggest judge of myself. Just walking into a gym takes a lot of vulnerability because this is a place of working to be healthy or working to get your goals. And I often struggled with trying to stay healthy and trying to make goals because I procrastinate or I make bad decisions. So I think that now I'm in a, despite COVID, despite the consequences it's had, I can work out at home now. I don't have to have people judge me. I can just be my own judge. And if I said I didn't work out enough today, guess what I do? I work out 15 to 20 minutes more or something. Or I say, okay, today's my skip day because I'm very tired and I have a lot of classes today. So I'm gonna skip. Because I'm really busy. So I definitely think that the break from cons and stuff like that, and like a lot of social events has been somewhat beneficial because it also says we need to take a break from that to help reduce COVID cases. But it
Mhm.
also says, well, there's a lot of things that you can do while you're home alone or while you're social distancing, stuff like that. And I'm trying to be positive. I know that, a global pandemic, it's very hard to be positive about something like that.
Yeah.
It's very hard, but at the end of the day, I was like, that doesn't mean there's nothing I can't do. Like nothing I can do. Like there's stuff I can do to make the most of my situation. I think that making the most of my situation includes taking good care of myself and getting in a better place.
I think overall that's I mean an amazing mindset, and kind of like
Mhm.
the whole goal of me doing this is just to kind of like shed light on how are people doing during quarantine, how have they been kept busy and everything, because it's something that's not easy,
Mhm.
especially if you are home all the time. Me, I've been working full time since May, so I kind of have that luxury of where I'm still getting out of the house and doing stuff, but for like other people that may not be able to leave their house, they're kind of stuck. It's like, so
Mhm.
what can people do being stuck in their homes? And it's just kind of my overall like goal of this was to just say, hey, look at these scenarios A, B, and C. You can focus on yourself as a person. You can focus on yourself, your body and everything. And it was funny when COVID when it happened, I was still working part time. I was only working 2 to 6, and I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, I'm gonna have all this time on my hands. What am I gonna do with it? So I started, finding things to keep me, entertained, busy before I went to work. And then like 2 months later, they're like, "Hey, can you work full time?" I'm like, sure, sure. So my like whole entire list of just all these shows that I wanted to watch are like super like short.
Yeah.
I overwhelm myself with lists, with to-do lists, with things to watch, with things to read, it's just like, why do I do this to myself?
Mhm.
I have a list of like 130 books I want to read by the end of the year, and I'm like, well, that's not gonna happen.
At least try to get 30 done or something.
I'm
At least like,
trying. I'm trying. I've been on the same book for like a month.
oh gosh.
A month. And it's not because I don't have time, it's I don't have the energy. But
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
I decided to kind of revert. I went like backwards. I'm reading manga because I can kind of
Mhm.
devour manga in like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's easier to read manga faster than a book because book you have to pay attention to every single word, whereas manga, half of it is pictures and the other half of it is literally just short word bubbles with dialogue and stuff. Like there's no like filler parts to where it's
Mhm.
words and stuff about stuff like for example, like in a normal novel you would have like you want to have a picture of something happening, you would have like a whole paragraph or like a whole page describing the scene
Yeah.
going on, whereas in manga you actually physically see the characters doing this type of thing, so you're
Yeah.
able to crank out manga like that because you're like, wow, you can take this story, compress it into a visual form,
Mhm.
and then you can get it done faster. And I think that's also helped with me because I've read manga here and there, and I read manga like in a heartbeat because
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner. Like watching things visually happen helps with memory and like being able to process it better. So maybe like I'll read a book and there's a fight scene in it, and maybe I won't process it so well. But the moment I see like a comic version, a manga version, or just even animated possibly too, then I'm like, oh, I see what they meant by that better. Or maybe I'm like, oh, I understand like how this fight scene went on, or like their dialogue and their conversation, the emotion that went through. It helps me better, so I can totally understand that like manga is much easier to like get done faster, and it's easier way of reading things.
I started My Hero kind of right where season 4 left off.
Mhm.
And I've been kind of reading that. So like I'm pretty much all caught up with to where like season 5 should be picking up, and I'm not ready for this to be animated.
Oh god.
Ready. I know I'm gonna cry. I know. I mean, I spoiled Demon Slayer for me.
Oh, I read all of Demon Slayer. I knew a couple spoilers, but the ending I was not expecting, and I was just like crying. Oh yeah.
I just
Sorry, that
I
was my
I,
roommate.
I completely ruined the manga for. I mean, I ruined the whole thing for me because I found out everybody who dies, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, why did I do that to myself?
It's still worth reading. I will say it's still
Yeah,
worth reading. It's
gonna
just
be
such a good story.
so depressing when it actually does get, because like when they announced it the manga was ending, I was like, but the anime just came out, like what do you mean the
Yeah,
manga ending?
literally. Yeah, it was surprising, but I think that it was still a good ending. Like I really did like the ending. Sure, it made me, cry a lot, but I think that like it was still good. And I think that the manga ending and the anime starting really close times, I don't think that was exactly a bad thing. I just think it's kind of weird because now there's people who are just getting into Demon Slayer because of the animated series,
Right.
and then there's also the fans who've been reading it for a hot minute and have actually read it up to date and stuff. Like I will admit, like when I heard the anime was coming out, I watched the first few episodes because it was still brand new, and I said, this is really good, but the manga is much farther, and I want to get that done first because then I'll know what happens, and also because I like reading manga. So I did read the manga, and I was like, well, it's not complete, it's almost done though, but wow, I cried, and I'm not ready for the rest of the show to be animated.
It's funny because it's one thing to like, I mean, it's the same with like Harry Potter. I read all the Harry Potter books. I mean, I got into it late. I didn't start reading until Half-Blood Prince came out, or like the movie came out.
Mhm.
And then, of course, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 came out, and I read the book before Part 2 of the movie came out. And I remember just sitting in the movie theater when it premiered. My dad and my brother were sitting next to me, and I'm like, oh, I already know everything that's going to happen. But it's so different to see it happen on screen
Oh, 100%.
because you're seeing, I mean, I know, it's not physical, but you're seeing the adaptation of what you read, what the words that happen on these pages, and
Mhm.
then you're actually seeing it happen.
Like a
because
visual form of
I
it.
know those fight scenes that are in the My Hero Academia manga right now, when they get animated, and I'm gonna see my bird boy, not gonna be okay, Victor. I'm not gonna be okay.
Literally same. I know what happened to him, and I was just remember sitting there. I was like, so what are we gonna do now?
Like,
Because
Dobby,
when
what
this
the
gets
fuck,
animated,
man?
because
Cause like I was shipping Dobby and Hawks before I even was reading the manga.
oh yeah, I remember because you were talking about it in like what 2018 and stuff. Like 2018
Forget
was just a
I don't know.
year.
Was it 2018, 2019 maybe? But yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm like, Dobby and Hawks. I like. And then
The flavor.
the flavor, and then Dobby's just gonna be like, nah, you're gonna match my brother and you're gonna match my dad. So here you go. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, what just happened? Yeah,
Not you going, you did this for what? Dobby going, why not? Why
yeah, why
though?
not?
Why
And
not?
it's funny because I'm at the point right now with the anime and with the manga and pretty much everybody else on the face of the planet of the earth with my these My Hero theories and everything.
Mhm.
If Dobby is not Toya Todoroki, I will Kermit. I will jump off a building. The flames.
Literally,
Endeavor literally talks about how if to a certain degree the fire quirk is used too much, the flames will turn blue. The eyes. He has the
literally.
eyes. We don't know where the oldest Todoroki is. We know he has kind of spiky-ish hair. Hair dye exists in their
Yeah,
universe.
and he had red hair, which means he inherited primarily the fire quirk because he has Endeavor's genetics primarily in
He has
him. So
Endeavor's eyes. He has
yeah.
their because they were comparing Endeavor's eyes, Todoroki's eyes, and then Dobby's eyes. And I'm
Mhm.
like, you cannot tell me that he is not a Todoroki. And then the fact that one of the chapters where Hawks goes ahead and says to Dobby, he's like, well, who are you? And it's a blacked out speech bubble.
Literally, I was like, if he's not one of the brothers and stuff, and like once that gets animated, it's over. Like the
I don't
fan base is gonna
know,
lose
I know,
it.
and it's funny because the manga author was like, he's like, y'all, I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot about the whole UA trader thing because it was season 2, kind of or was it season 2 or season 3? Like season 3 when
Yeah,
the
it was somewhere around there.
at the training camp, and President Mike went ahead and he was like, I think we have a traitor among us.
Literally, I
The
love how
author
people.
forgot about that. And I'm like, well, you can't forget about Toya Todoroki because guess what? We're gonna keep reminding you of it because there were theories of like Kaminari was possibly the traitor. They thought that maybe Kirishima was possibly the traitor, and I'm like,
The Invisible Girl too, and everyone had. It's funny because Invisible Girl, you think this airhead chick, she's dumb, she's silly, but she also has a very good quirk. You think, oh, she's only invisible. You don't understand how much
what
stuff she could do with that quirk. Like
right?
the amount of stuff she could do with that quirk is insane.
So
It's just literally.
she's completely invisible. The only thing you ever see is her clothes. So God only knows if, I mean, she could strip down, she could go infiltrate the League of Villains, she can come back, she can go, back and forth. We have no idea. If somebody is going to be a UA traitor and it's going to be in UA and it's not a
Yeah.
not a teacher, it's a student, it's Hagakure. It just
Yeah.
fits.
Yeah, and I love how like when that got animated, it brought the community a lot together because it's funny how that works. Like when it's a manga, there's already a community, right? Like there's people.
Yeah.
But once it gets animated, it gets so many more people in because they prefer the animated version. So a lot more people like, join that type of group or the community and fan base, and just like so much more happens because now that a lot more people are into it. I think that's really interesting. I think it makes sense that that type of thing happens, but it's also really interesting, like the consequences of it, especially Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer was amazing. Like the manga is just so good, and once it got the animated version, that fan base, the amount of people in it skyrocketed.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was huge. Like the fact that people were like, oh, it was like this really good manga. Now it's like one of the best animes, like one of the best animated series
Mhm.
up to date, like one of the most popular ones. It's so well known. So I think it was really
Yeah,
interesting
I
how
remember.
that works with like things getting animated and just like skyrocketing in popularity.
Yeah, I remember when it came out, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, this is not only is like the art style really good, the sub at the time was really good, the dub is it's whatever, but no, overall
Good job.
it was so good. I mean, we will probably never have another anime on the same level as like Naruto or Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
but I like to think Black Clover is very, very close to kind of a top tier only because they have not they took a very, very small hiatus, very, very small during kind of COVID and everything to like do the dubs and subs. But
Mhm.
Black Clover to date, I want to say has about 150 episodes, possibly more.
Mhm.
And it's only been out for maybe 2 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, it really has gained popularity. I've only watched a little bit of it, but like I can somewhat understand. I mean, it's not my favorite anime ever, but I can understand why it's popular. Like I understand like, oh, it has like a really good diverse cast. A lot of people enjoy the plot. Like it's a type of
Mhm.
plot that where it's like maybe, it's a fantasy world. It's not exactly relatable, but it's
Yeah.
it's its own thing. So I guess it makes sense that people would like that type of stuff. So
Right. I mean, I had to look it up because it was going to bother me if I didn't know for sure. So they have so it's 154 episodes. First premiere date was October 3rd of 2017, and currently there's 25 manga volumes. So
mm,
it's not quite. I wouldn't say it's quite on the same scale or same level as Naruto because it has been out for 3 years, and I mean, I know Naruto probably. I know Shippuden had like 500 episodes, and I think Naruto
yeah,
had
Shippuden was long.
50. Yeah, somewhere around there. So I mean, but it's what I like about it is it's a continuation. They really haven't stopped. Um, and kind of I feel like the same way with Fairy Tail. I know Fairy Tail is kind of done with, and a lot of people like to hate on Fairy Tail because they're like, oh well, it's not consistent or whatever. I was like, I'll be honest, when they did that time skip, I was lost. I
Mm,
was hopelessly confused, not understanding because I did the time skip. I started watching a couple more episodes after that, and then I stopped. And when I
mm.
stopped, I just completely forgot about it. So I'm like, well, if I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go back to where the time skip happened and kind of go from there because I'm like so confused. I have no idea what's going on.
No, that's so valid. I will admit I was a person who bandwagon hating on Fairy Tale for a while, but then again, like I like watched it and I was just like, okay, I just don't like it. And the story, I don't care. I don't need to be hating other people for liking it. Everyone has different opinions, whatever. But I will admit that I was one of those people. I was like, oh, it's just the generic fantasy plot where friends are your source of power. And then I actually watched it and I was just like, I just don't like it. It's not my favorite. Oh well, not the end of the
I mean,
world.
I definitely do. I started Black Clover. I think I got to like episode 8 or 9, and that's all they had at the time. And I stopped because I'm like, well, there's only like 9 episodes. And then I kept meaning to go back and like start watching. Like I was gonna be watching them weekly, and then I don't even know what happened. I think I just completely forgot about it. And now there's 154 episodes. Oops, oops.
That
But
sounds like what happened with Demon Slayer at first to me. But then again, like I
yeah,
said, I started reading the manga because I was like, I watched a couple episodes when it first came out. I was like, okay, work, it's good. But then I was like, I'm gonna read the manga before, like up to date, before I continue the anime
mhm.
any further because I was only about episode like 4 or 5 when I said time to read the manga. So that's what I did, and then I was just like, well, crap. What am I going to do now? Because now I want to watch this animated really badly. So I should have just stuck with the manga first, then just waited a while before the anime started picking up more. So,
Yeah. I mean, I started because, like I said, I started with My Hero kind of right after where season 4 left off, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna start the manga, I feel like now would be a good time to kind of start where season 4 left off and everything because I have no reason to go back to see. I kind of already know what happened in because of the anime and everything. Unless I really want the full collection of the manga, I'm only interested in kind of where it goes from here on out.
mm,
But I gotta wait till like next October for season 5 to come out instead of like because normally it's like every spring, but they're pushing it, which hopefully that means season 5 will be longer.
Yeah.
That's my hope, is that they'll finish up with the arc that they're currently on, and then season 5 will get animated. That arc will be included, and it'll kind of end. Season 5 will end nicely, and then they can just kind of keep going with what they're doing. I mean, if I have to wait a year, you know, for a full season 5, like maybe more episodes, like maybe instead of 25, I get like 30 or 35, do it. Do what you gotta do.
I was
I'm
about to say, because I was like, yeah, we kind of are going through some pretty crazy times right now.
Yeah.
But then again, you can always use that time to catch up on other shows. Like I started this show called Carol on Tuesday, and I've been meaning to pick it up. And now that I'm on episode 4 now, oh my gosh, I was like, why didn't I pick this up? Like I had other stuff I was watching, but like I'm now picking up this show that's really good. And it's called Carol on Tuesday. It's from the creator of Cowboy Bebop, and
Okay.
it's a music anime. There's these two girls, Carol and Tuesday, and they're like best friends, and they realize, oh, let's make music together because we both like just love music. And it's set in the future to where now humanity lives on Mars, and it's really, really good. Like the soundtrack is just absolutely incredible. They actually have like actual musicians come in and like made the soundtrack, and they had this one musician, what's her name? She's the daughter of a famous singer already. Madison McFerrin, that's her name.
Okay.
She plays one of my favorite characters, and she's already just like, I already listened to her music a bit, and I think she's so talented. And then she plays literally my favorite character, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's not just the music, like she's actually being a voice actor for the dub too. Like she's really talented. So it's a really good show, and I think it's completed. I think it's already been like it's done. But it's such a good show, and I say it's definitely worth it because like I think now that COVID is happening and I have time to like catch up on shows now and stuff, I want to start watching shows that I know that are over, because then I can watch everything from beginning to end, and then I don't have to wait continuously or something, because then I'm like, I know I can finish this. This is something I know I can get it done during this, like, the times we're living in,
Yeah.
so that I can watch all 48 episodes of and then move on to something else.
But
So
it's so interesting you say that, because I'm like the complete opposite. I don't like watching shows, and I don't, not anime's excluded. I don't mean like anime. I mean like real people, like live action.
yeah, most live
I
action things for me.
I don't know why. I guess because I know, like, okay, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same for anime, but I don't know, it's a little different. But I'm like, when I end this show, that's the end. I'm not gonna get anything more. So if it ends on a cliffhanger or it ends in an ending that I don't like and that's it, sometimes I feel like my time's been wasted,
Yeah.
or I'm left with just this empty gaping hole. And I'm like, well, what now? What do I do now?
Yeah,
Like
that's happened.
my parents are rewatching House. And House has been over for years. But it just seems interesting to me. But I'm like, it's over. Do I really want to dedicate all that time to watching a show that I know is already over? And nobody really talks about it anymore.
Hmm.
But it's like, well, is it something I'm going to enjoy? I don't know, because I won't know unless I watch it. But one show, one anime that I tell a lot of people now about that's extremely sad, because I want other people to feel my sadness, is Banana Fish.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Banana Fish. I have not watched it yet, but I've already seen the spoilers, because when it blew up, people decided not to keep it spoiler free. And
I
so before
I
I could
got
even watch episode 1, I
yeah,
got spoiled.
I got lucky to where I kind of knew what happened, but I wanted to know what happened.
Yeah, like the
I knew
story behind it.
I knew what happened with Ash, but I didn't know the relationship between him and Edgy. Like I didn't really know. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this.
Hmm.
Not a regret. It's not a regret at all. But I'm sad. I've been sad for the last month and a half, because I'll think
Oh
about
my god.
videos of them and I'm just thinking to myself, but I came to terms with how it ended, and I kind of accepted it because he lived a very tragic life, and I understand the things he did and why he did it, but at the same time, I'm not okay.
That
I told my
reminded me
brother
of
about it. I told my younger brother about it, he's 18, he'll be 19 next month, and I said to him, I said, "Do you want a sad anime to watch?" And he goes, "Sure, what is it called?" And I said, "It's called Banana Fish." I said it's on Amazon Prime. I said it's 26 episodes long. When you get done with it, come talk to me about it.
Oh my god.
Terrible. I'm a terrible person. But hey, if people were telling me that I needed to go watch it and I kept putting it off and it got spoiled for me, and then I finally watched it, and I was sitting in my boyfriend's garage. He was working on his truck, and I finished it. And I'm just sitting there. And he's yelling he's yelling at me to get him a ratchet. And I said, "Leave me be. Leave me be. I need a minute." He's like, What happened?" I said, I finished an anime and I'm not okay right now. I need a minute and then I'll hand you your stupid ratchet."
Oh my god, that was me. Wait, did you ever watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Bits and pieces of it. I haven't finished it, but I've seen a good majority of
Oh
it and kind
my
of got
god.
an idea of like what happens to the characters.
Yeah, there's 5 seasons to it, and oh my gosh, I meant to watch it like all the way back in middle school when I first got into anime.
Yeah.
But when I watched it, I was like, why was I putting this off for years? Because I literally started at 2019 of college, and now I'm like, that's still up to date, one of my favorite animes. It's
Yeah.
so depressing, but so good at the same time. And it's just one of those shows where you're like, how is this not as popular as Naruto? Like maybe I know it's a well-known show,
Yeah,
but
but
like
I
its
see what you mean.
popularity, like how is it not as popular? Like this, like
Yeah.
it would make sense that the show got well known because it's so well written and it has such a good cast to it. So if you want a sad show to watch season 1 of Full
Okay.
Metal Alchemist, because that show hurt. It
Yeah.
was good, but God, it hurt.
I prefer Brotherhood only because there's more characters that I feel like I relate to a little bit more. So like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood I want to watch, Black Clover,
Mm-hmm.
want to do Hunter x Hunter, um Leorio.
Hunter x Hunter is really weird. I think it's good. I think it's a great
Yeah.
anime. But at the same time, I'm like, this is weird. Like, anime does have a reputation of people being like, oh, I don't watch it because it's weird. Well, obviously, because it's animated, there's a lot of more stuff, a lot of more imagination you can have with an animated series compared to an in-person series. So it was just really, it was a really weird, it's been a really weird show so far, but like, I can see how it's popular. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I think I got more than enough, so I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
This was fun. I definitely want to do this again, whether it's for
I
school
love that.
or not, because this was
Oh
great.
yeah, definitely. I've been meaning to reconnect with so many people. Like I mentioned earlier, Jessica. Like I had not talked to her since like 2018, except for like on and off here and there. But
I'll throw her into a Zoom call, you, me, and her, and we'll just literally be talking about Hawks for an
I
hour.
need to. We
Great.
need to throw in Wendy too, of
Oh
course,
my
because
god, I miss Wendy. I miss
dude,
her.
I've been talking with Wendy and Jessica again, and I'm like, bro, like we need to have the Sad Hawk stand gang.
You know what? I'm gonna make a group chat on Instagram right now.
Please.
Send me your Jessica's info on Instagram. I'll throw us into a group chat and we'll make this happen.
Okay, I'll use my other account, but yes,
Okay.
please.
All right.
Wait,
Well,
do you want to use are you gonna use your cosplay account or are you just gonna use your normal account?
I'll use my cosplay. I'll use my cosplay
Okay,
one.
yeah, because that's what I use for most group chats now, even though I
Yeah.
don't post anything. But, 2020, like I said, 2020 is going to be the year where I work out, feel better about myself, start getting content, and then 2021 is when I'm going to be sharing it with the world. So,
Do it. Let's do it.
yeah.
All right, man. You take care. Talk to you later. Thank you again.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
no problem.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Of
Bye.
course.